Welcome to our webinar on how to boost your open rate. My name is Steffen Kongstoft, and I'm one of our customer success managers here at Actimo. During the next 10 to 15 minutes, I'll be taking you through some tips and tricks that you can apply instantly in your organization. As the webinar is short and to the point, we'll not be answering any questions, so I really encourage you to reach out to your customer success manager or our support, or to check out our online help desk for assistance if you have any questions or feedback to this webinar. We're going to divide the webinar into two parts. First, we're going to take a look at 5 small tips that you can apply instantly after this webinar to any time you want to push your messages out. Afterwards, we're going to take a small look at how you can use a pull effect to actually increase your opening rates over time and to create a better experience for the recipient. But let's try to start and have a look at what you as communication managers rated as an acceptable open rate. First of all, if we take a look here, as we can see, we sent out a message yesterday asking all of you what an acceptable opening rate would be, and your average comes down to 67%. Now, this is a bit higher than what we usually see in customer success. In Actimo, we normally see around 50% average in an organization that do quite well. But this was your expectation moving into this, and it's interesting to see how we then fared with the message that we sent out, and we can see that it averaged 50%. And I'll show you afterwards so you can see that I'm not lying, that we actually have the data. So from sending out around 40 to 41 messages yesterday to all of you who signed up for the webinar, we can see that we reached around 50%. First, we're going to look at 5 tips, and this is what we in Actimo call the push effect. And by meaning push effect, this is every time that you manually or by automation send out something to your recipients. It can either be an SMS, as would be the primary send method in Actimo, or it could be an email, which would be the secondary option. And this is 5 tips that you can instantly use for your next message. It's really easy to apply, and it will definitely gain you a higher opening rate. The first one is the actual call to action text, the call to action text that we have in the message. And this is asking yourself, why should I or anybody in this organization actually click this SMS link? The tricky part can be that you're often communicating to a lot of different people if you have a large organization. But try to put yourself in their shoes, and with everything going on during a busy workday, why should this person actually click it? And we'll go in, have a look at the one that I did yesterday for you guys, and we're going to see some examples right after this. The next tip would be to individualize the message. By this we mean to say hi, first name, and this comes back to how well your data is structured in Actimo. If you have first name, we would strongly recommend that. I would also strongly recommend that you actually check it, because there's nothing worse than having a message saying hi first name and not your actual name because the data was wrong. The third tip would be, don't be afraid to always remind. In Actimo, we have a few ways where you can proactively remind some of your recipients, or you can do it manually afterwards. Interestingly enough, what we often see with the remind option is that it can bump up your opening rate at least 5 to 10%, and it's one click, and you can even do it proactively, so you don't have to worry about it, and it will only be sent to people who didn't open at the first try. The fourth tip that we provide for you today is to create trust, and this comes back to checking your domain. In Actimo, when you send out a text message via SMS, you can always see that it carries a link, and having your domain, which would say 3 times W and then your company domain in some variety in this link, is a really, really neat trick to get people to actually trust the message. This comes back to what we often see today with a lot of phishing, with a lot of anti-corruption campaigns in large companies. So you will see that if you don't have your own domain, a lot of people could be afraid to click it, understandably. If you don't know if you have your domain, you can check it on the actual messages, or you can get in touch with your customer success manager in order to set it up. It's a really, really simple trick to do with your IT department, and we'll be happy to help you with it. The fifth item on our list for some of the effects that you can do instantly is to warm up for what's coming. You can either choose to use an automation in Actimo and send out a text message first, preparing them what's to come. What we often do if we onboard a new customer, we always send out an email internally in the organization, post on the intranet, use some of the other channels that you have available, and actually let people know that something is coming. But let's break this down and have a look at how this could actually be applied in Actimo. So if we take a look at the message that I sent all of you guys yesterday, first of all, if we take a look at the call to action test, you can see I've used the personalized feature here, hi first name. You can also see that I'm trying to immediately let you know why you've received this, so actually letting you know that you participated in a webinar. I've also, right after, tried to let you know exactly what I want you to do before everything else, so I've said please hit the link. Then I used a little bit of characters here to let you know that it's not going to cost you anything, so basically let you know that it's only 10 seconds of your time and what you're actually going to gain from it. Now you could also choose to do other things, but this is what I would suggest do, and of course I would always sign it with regards to who it's from. Another one we have down here would be, you could try to see, you know, if you wanted a suggestion here, we could use, if you want to know what other managers like you would consider a nice opening rate, hit the link, use 10 seconds, and handing in your response. And this is using effect where we are trying to create a sense of you know, you're the only one who's going to see it. So we would actually say in this one, another example, the result will only be shared with those who submit and be anonymous. So in this sense, we're trying to make you, the person, the recipient, part of a small group receiving these results when you do it. The last thing I want to show you is not what you should do, it's basically what you shouldn't do. So what we sometimes see some of our customers do is sending a link where you say, hi there, there's no personalized items, hit the link and submit your response. I guarantee you this is not the call to action text that will give you a lot of opening rates. So try to work with the SMS text on what works the best for you and use some of the 5 tips that we created here. You can do it right after when you're actually starting to send your next text. The next part will be about the pull effect what we have in Actimo, and this is using some of the Actimo features that has been designed for that specific purpose. The first one we'll take a look at right after here is what we call an unread notifications. You know this from social media and other apps that you might have available. The second one would be a message list. This is a feature in Actimo where you can actually compile other messages as a list view in the message that you're trying to show, and this is a great way to let people access some of the messages that they might not have seen before. So you can imagine if I wanted you guys, some of you that didn't click today, if I send you another message, I could use a message list and let you see what you hadn't clicked before. I'll give you an example right after this. The third one would be to use the Insight module. This is one of the newest features in Actimo, and it actually puts a top bar in all messages that allows the recipient to see their own progress, allows them to see what they've engagement, their knowledge level, and also if you're using our quiz feature, it's going to allow them to see how many points they've collected individually. So let's take a look how this could be applied. I've created an example in Actimo with an app that uses all of these features in a pull effect. It's around an academy training. So if we go to Actimo here, I can try to show you. So you can imagine a scenario where you as a manager has to take a certain amount of employees, colleagues, etc., against some academy training. I've created this example around what you would call security, something that we see in a lot of companies are focusing on right now. So it could be test in physical security, phishing test, GDPR compliance, something that's going to be really important moving into the new year. So if you wanted to create a small universe for your employees where they can actually test yourself, and you as a manager can come afterwards and say our knowledge level is here, this would be a great way to do it. And I'll show you some of the pull effects that we're actually using here. First of all, if we go to the front page, I've let my front page know that all messages hiding behind this should have an unread notification. So immediately if somebody accesses this app, they would see there's something here hiding from me. And if you know social media, this is an effect that works really, really well. The same have been applied to our menu up here. So no matter where I are in this scenario, I'll actually be able to look at the menu and see unread notification. So this is the first pull effect that we see can have a great benefit in Actimo, actually helping people to see some of the messages they might not have seen, or to investigate and learn on their own. So the second one we saw, I talked about the message list, and if we take a look at one of these trainings I created, you'll be able to see it. So first of all, if I were the recipient here, I could go in and take this physical security test. So we've applied some information, there's a small video, and now I want you to maybe take a test and see how you're actually faring in this. Please notice that I've rated this for a department, so I've taken, take the test and earn points for your department. It's up to you to find out what works best. I often see that a team effect can have a great effect on people because they're part of a group. And actually collecting teams for a department, maybe you want to give out a prize to them, the ones who perform the best, can have a really nice effect. But it's up to you to judge what would work best for you. Secondly, we can see here, if I take this test, we can see we're using points here to take people through the test, but what become really interesting is that I could have sent this via push. So we could have applied what we learned in the first half and sent this out as a single message. People would take the test, then it would be over. We might have reached 50% opening rate if we were lucky. The interesting part is that we could continue to do that with the other test, but we could also say we appreciate that people would like to learn on their own and continue on their own. So applying what you see here below is a message list, and by applying what we know about the pull effect and what we see from other media and all the channels, we can actually insert a message list here that lets the person, after they're done with the primary focus, continue on their own. So I could go straight to the phishing test and continue on my own taking this. The interesting part also becomes if we have a look at the third item, the insight module. You can see here at the top that when I'm going through this test, I'll actually apply points to my insight module at the top, and this is a bar we've inserted on all the messages. If we have a look up here, we can actually click and we can see how much we're knowing. So I could go in and retake quizzes where I might not have gotten 100% correct. I could also see how much content have I engaged with, and lastly I could go and see how much points can I have collected and earn more points. So you can see this is a pull effect where I could go in and say, this is where my status is right now. I would like to earn more points. Let me take the compliance test. So by using both the push and the pull effect in this scenario, we've actually created a small universe that keeps the person enrolled in the course. And the benefit for you as a manager is you don't have to push as much content, and you can rely that people will do it on their own. It creates a lot better experience because you can imagine yourself in a busy schedule. It's not always, you wouldn't always do this test immediately if you got it via an SMS. Secondly, it might get lost in your inbox. So having this app feature or universe where they can move on their own in their own pace, maybe they want to do it when they're sitting in the bus and they're at home. But what is important is for you as a manager, it will create a higher opening rate because people will actually open and click the messages. You will also be able to see in Actimo if it was a pull or a push effect. If we take a look at the statistics for the message we did the other day, yesterday, you'll be able to see whether it was actually created via push or if you have a pull effect here. So moving on and looking at the data, you're going to be able to see what actually works best for you.